It is my pleasure to introduce an outstanding student and graduate who will present the Student Challenge. While I don't want to give too much away, as we'll have the privilege of hearing his story directly from him, I have just one or two things I want to say about John. At the age of 14, John Abughattas became severely ill, and he would struggle with chronic pain that set him apart from others. But John refused to give up and eventually came to SMC, where he majored in philosophy and also became an active part of campus life. As president of the SMC Philosophy Club, he's been very, very involved. I encourage you to read John's bio, which is in your program. He has been accepted into UCLA, UC Berkeley, and Columbia University. He's currently in the process of deciding which place to choose. Graduates, today, John is with us, receiving an associate degree in general science, and it is my pleasure to welcome John Abughattas to the podium to deliver the Student Challenge.
Before I begin, I'd like to set the record straight. This fall, I have the pride of being a Bruin. President Jeffrey, Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, my fellow graduates, Mama Ubaba. I am going to live a life full of naive optimism, and I only hope that you choose to do the same. We have been given one life and full control over what to do with it, so why settle for the mundane? Those of us here today have chosen to dedicate many years of our lives to education. But I believe it is crucial that we stop and ask ourselves, what is this education for? I believe its purpose is twofold. One, to prepare us to be remarkable people, and two, to enable us to be ready to go out into the world and help the less privileged become remarkable in their own right. First, we should strive to be great. It was one of my favorite philosophers, Aristotle, who said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." I learned that firsthand when I was 14 years old, and I became diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, a chronic autoimmune disease of the colon. I could no longer go to school, and I spent all of high school on home study. The educational standards were rock bottom. The school wasn't concerned with making sure I got a good education. They were more concerned with making sure they passed me on, gave me a diploma, and that I was no longer their problem. I had to take my education into my own hands, or I would have become a victim of an educational system that failed to accommodate highly driven disabled students. The assumption that too many people make is that disabled means incapable. That is not true. It was not, it is not, and it never will be good enough for me. My challenge to all of you is that no matter where you are going next, no matter what your circumstances, strive to be excellent. The people we want to be like, the role models, are the ones who recognize that good enough is never good enough, that complacency and mediocrity will rob us of all the young passion we have within us. Inside of you might be the world's greatest flute player, a gold medalist wrestler, a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, or a biochemist with a cure for cancer, and you just have to let that person out of you. But once you have drunk up the sea and unchained the earth from the sun, I beg of you to not forget of the people who are not so lucky to be sitting here today. Lady Liberty reminds us that we have a duty to the tired, to the poor, to the huddled masses yearning to breathe freely. Whether those masses be our neighbors or strangers, I believe it is an imperative that we recognize the value in their humanity and lift them up so they can stand with us. One month ago in Portland, Oregon, 3 men by the names of Taliesin Murden Namkai Mechi, Ricky John Best, and Mika David Cole Fletcher stepped in to prevent another man from harassing a teenage girl for being Muslim. Their moral conscience told them in that moment that they had to stand up for justice in the name of a stranger. And that is exactly what they did. I speak their names today because they are heroes, and they possess a certain excellence in their character that we should all strive to one day meet. Like many of my fellow graduates, I don't know exactly where this life of mine will lead me. But there's one thing I do know, that no matter where I may find myself, I could find no greater a life or one more noble than one lived in the service of others. I ask you to make your education worth something more than just your own personal benefit. Turn to the needs of your brothers and sisters. These are the values I learned here at SMC, where in my philosophy classes with Professor Catherine, she forced me to do a value clarification exercise, where I looked at what really is important and what is valuable in life. It is here where I learned about excellence in my independent study with Professor Paul Klumpy, where he pushed me to succeed at a level not typically offered at the lower division. It is here where I learned about the importance of diversity, where for the first time in 15 years, I had a professor who looked like me. That's what I got here from SMC, and that's what I'll take with me. And so here we are at the beginning of it all. Affirm all that life has to offer. Go out and make your life a work of art. Do something profound. Do something worth writing about. Make people remember you after gone. Get your name in a textbook. Come right back here and be a professor to pass it all on to other people. Volunteer. Reach out. Support and enrich the lives of those around you. Embrace the absurdity of it all while you still can. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that inspiring speech. I was very touched by what you shared, John. Thank you. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, as we wish for all of our graduates today.